Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Brain Dead Reacts. And kind of excited for this one. I got up and I saw a new Coffeezilla video in my sub box, and I think it's about the Colin Thompson scam that Jim Cornette and Brian Last have been going on about since June, I think. So let's just say I am ready to react to this, because I've been hoping that I've been really hoping there would be a Coffeezilla video about this, you know. But I've been really hoping there would be a Coffeezilla video covering this stuff. And then when Theo Von came out about it, like however long it was, a week ago, I don't even know. When Theo came out about it, I was just like, oh, people might start listening now, because it's not just a wrestling personality saying it. And here we are, judging by the thumbnail. I see Theo Von, I see Brendan Schaub, however you say his name. I see a couple of the people from Sarah Silverman as well in the thumbnail. So I think it's time. All right, let's check it out.
$4 million was stolen from these podcasters, and I decided to investigate. I found the man responsible, but before we confront him, let's go back to where it all started, when Theo Von, a comedian, released this.
Our podcast was defrauded. We were stolen from. The company that did it is Cast Media, and
yep, this is what I thought it was. Oh, yes. Right, okay, this is going to be juicy. This is going to be juicy, right? So what I know about this is, well, not going to go into everything I know about this, but let's just say I'm an avid listener of the Jim Cornette drive-through and the Jim Cornette experience. And Jim Cornette and Brian Last have had a recurring segment explaining how Colin Thompson, Cast Media, however you say it, have basically ripped them the fuck off. Not paid them for like nearly over a year, something like that. Not paid them for a very long time. It was always hard to get the payments when they wanted them. And now he's saying, oh, well, the only way you can get your money is if you accept this new deal where we give you like a third of your money and stock and all this shit. And they weren't happy. They felt like they've been ripped off because they wanted the money they've rightfully been owed. And they have been talking about it for a little while. That's what I know. And yeah, let's see. Let's carry on then. Let's go. Come on, Theo. Let's back it up a little. All right.
Comedian released this.
our podcast was defrauded. We were stolen from. The company that did it is Cast Media, and the man that did it is Colin Thompson. In total, I've just between talking with folks, there's up to $4 million that I know of. We're in the six figures. I know of podcasts that are in the seven figures.
Now, when I saw this, I had the same two questions on my mind as you do. One, who is Colin Thompson? And two, y'all are making 6 to 7 figures doing podcasts? I'm in the wrong line of work. I make like 4 figures here in the $10 million studio. Barely keep the lights on, okay? So I went to do some research, figure out, how these people are making all this money and also how they got robbed. And what I found out was that this company that stole the $4 million was a podcast network called Cast Media. Podcast network being a fancy name for saying they represent podcasts to find sponsors. All that stuff you violently skip with the fast forward 15-second button. Yeah, those guys. And Cast Media would basically work with them as a middleman. They would take some money, give the podcasters the read, and then give the money. Of course, taking a cut for themselves. Now, that is simplifying it a bit, and we'll go into the details more later. But what you need to know is that
So basically, on the surface, it's like an agent. They're putting themselves across as like an agency. Like a video, like you get in as an actor or musicians. It's like, or on YouTube, the MCNs and stuff. So like the multi-channel networks. They're kind of like we do most of the hard work so you don't have to, you can focus on podcasting. I get the feeling that is, well, that's what they're trying to put themselves across as, like that's what it sounded like on Jim Cornette's podcast as well.
Cast Media hadn't been paying their talent on time. And what started as being late for maybe a month had turned into 7, 8, 9 months late on paying, until one day Cast Media and their CEO, Colin Thompson, says, hey, we're probably going to go into bankruptcy, which means you get nothing unless you take a special deal with another podcast network called Podcast One. Now, who's Podcast One? Well, it's an even bigger network, and they basically say, hey, we'll acquire you, pay off what you're owed, if you sign a new deal with new terms with us. If you do, you'll get back some of the money you're owed now, some of the money you're owed over 2 years, and you'll also get stock in our company. But what stock? Well, Podcast Network stock, a company that wasn't public yet, but as of this video now is, and is down almost 50%. Now, if you took that stock in 2 years, you could sell it. How much it's worth at that point is dubious. Now, Podcast One would say they were just trying to help. It wasn't their debt, so it's a great deal. Now, the more cynical view of this is that it's kind of strong-arming creators. You either take the deal or you'll never get what you're paid. I mean, podcasters like Jim Cornette were literally told in the event that...
I just heard Jim Cornette mentioned on a non-wrestling video. Like, all right, never mind. I'm just going to move past that. That felt weird. I can count on one hand the amount of times I have heard Jim Cornette mentioned in non-wrestling circles. So, but yes, I had a feeling as soon as it came over here that I started like speed reading the email and I saw Jim Cornette. And, yes, right. Anyway, back it up a little bit. I would be pissed. Like this is one of those things. It's like you've earned this much money. You should be getting this. You'll be paid, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, you'll get a third of that now. And then maybe the rest in 2 years, and like maybe, and the stock might be like that's. I understand taking a gamble, right? I understand taking a risk, and all this shit, but there should have been the option to just get what they're owed. Straight up, not take this deal or you get nothing. It should have been take this deal or get with or get your shit. I don't understand how they ever thought that would have gone down well, especially seeing as most of the people that they're doing it to are semi-celebrities as well. And I don't understand how that was ever going to go down well.
I mean, podcasters like Jim Cornette were literally told in the event that Cast is unable to close the Podcast One asset sale, it will likely declare bankruptcy. So take the deal or lose everything you're owed. And to make things stranger, Podcast One was paying Cast Media in stock for every podcaster that took the deal. So if you agreed and wanted the money you were owed, you're kind of bailing out the company that got you into this mess. So obviously some people didn't like that deal. Although, understandably, others did and took the deal. And look, I'm not here to litigate whether those Podcast One deals are good or bad. Frankly, it's not the point of this video. All cleanups are going to be messy. What I did want to know, though, is how did that $4 million go missing in the first place? And to try to find out, I began to reach out to everyone, starting with Colin Thompson, to ask for his side of the story.
You're being accused of basically stealing $4 million. Your clients say you defrauded them. What's your side of the story?
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I wanted to talk with you because I appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate your journalistic integrity, and I know that you're going to tell a fair story. Cast is sort of the dream of the vision of independence, free speech, not bound by sort of corporate norms, the ability and the backbone to support.
This is the first time I've seen the man properly. Like, obviously they showed a screenshot. They showed a screenshot of him previously. But this is the first time I've seen the man in the months I've been hearing about him. I'm not going to make any snap judgments. I'm going to listen to what he says to Coffeezilla. And then we'll make a judgment. We'll see. See if we'll try and get a judgment of his character.
$4 million. Your clients say you defrauded them. What's your side of the story?
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I wanted to talk with you because I appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate your journalistic integrity.
instantly just buttering him up, instantly avoiding the question, instantly not answering anything, like so far has said nothing and is just trying to win favor with Coffeezilla. I'm sure it won't work, but
and I know that you're going to tell a fair story. Cast is sort of the dream of the vision of independence, you know, free speech, not bound by sort of corporate norms, the ability and the backbone to support visionary, talented, unique, independent voices, people like Theo Vaughn. You know, Cast's perspective was independence is the product. There were plenty of times where, you know, we believed in a show, it ran into trouble, maybe it was canceled in one way or another, and canceled, quote unquote, and we stood by our creators. Right?
okay, so once again, he still hasn't answered the question. Still hasn't answered the question. Still just completely going round the well. No, he's saying things without saying anything. It's that typical. You see it on Coffeezilla videos quite a lot. You know, he questions people and they just, rather than answering him, they just go around the houses.
Right, continue to support them through that time, you know, when maybe a more corporate organization wouldn't. We weathered the storm together. We believe truly that that's what, you know, was unique and special about Cast, and my heart and soul is still in that vision. I'm a musician originally, and I got into this because I wanted to support shows that were bucking the trend, going against the grain, but unique and important to the broader dialogue.
Yeah, but once again, what does that have to do with, like, right, we're at 4:47. I just need to go back and refresh myself on Coffeezilla's question, because I'm pretty, you defrauded them. What's your side of the story?
$4 million go missing in the first
it is a
with
bit
Colin
of an
Thompson
open
to ask
question.
for his side of the story.
You're being accused of basically stealing $4 million. Your clients say you defrauded them. What's your side of the story?
You're being accused of stealing $4 million. Your clients are saying you've defrauded them. What's your side of the story? Oh, well, you know, I started this because of this, because of... No, I don't mean your side of your fucking life story, bro. I mean, what's your side of the story on did you steal $4 million fucking dollars? All right. Let's get back to where we were.
The broader dialogue.
But where's the 4 million? I mean, yeah, I hear you. Everybody's got a grand vision, but the grand vision, when we get to this point, everyone wants to know where the money is, not what the vision is.
Sure.
Go on, Coffee.
You know, we built an infrastructure at Cast that I was and am tremendously proud of. I believe that over the years, we generated better revenue for creators, paid them out more than other podcasts would necessarily be able to, because we invested heavily in an infrastructure, took an individualized approach, anecdotally. You know,
But you're saying you pay out more, but I mean, clearly that's, you know, kind of not true, right?
Wait, but
I am trying not to interrupt Coffee here at this bit, because like last time I went on my rant and then he said it's like, so yeah, I'm gonna let Coffee work throughout this bit, okay?
You asked for my story. Do you mind if I just tell the story? You know, we're getting to
He's
the financial
getting mad now.
difficulties.
He's literally getting mad that he's not letting him tell his bullshit.
Our vision, it really worked. Creators benefited, made a lot more money than they would have. And many creators do have more money in their pocket now because of that. However, during the period from February 2022 until February 2023, our unit economics changed drastically. Our revenue per download, which is an important metric for analyzing sales performance, you know, free from content performance considerations, dropped by 58%. In other words, over the course of those 12 months, the revenue that we could generate on one download moved down by 58%, you know?
Okay, that took 3 minutes to get to a real answer. And I've got to be honest, this whole conversation was about that painful. Talking to somebody who...
I can imagine, holy shit. Okay, so at the start, I said we'll reserve judgment and let him talk. We'll let him cook, as they say. And he served up a shit sandwich. He's not a good cook. So, fucking anyway,
I've got to be honest, this whole conversation was about that painful. Talking to somebody who owes creators millions and he's telling you how he got them paid so much money is a little frustrating, but setting that aside, the central claim of Colin is that all of this happened because revenues dropped in 2022 and he just couldn't pay people on time. But as I spoke to people about Colin, I realized late payments weren't a new thing at all. People told me that was always the case.
Okay, you joined them in 2018.
2018.
Yeah. So when did you start getting late payment?
I know that voice. That's Brian Last. That's Jim Cornette's host, co-host. It's like he's co-host. I love, but right. Okay. Sorry.
New thing
Sorry.
at all.
Mark
People
out
told me
moment. My bad.
that was always the case.
Right.
Okay, you joined them in 2018.
2018.
Yeah. So when did you start getting late payments? Basically, like they didn't come when they said they were going to come. And when did you stop getting full payments?
Right away. I can answer that right away. That was right from the first check we were supposed to get. It didn't arrive when he said.
It was never on time. So
Yeah.
it wasn't unusual if it was like a month late, a month and a half late. And then when it goes from, all right, a month late to 2 months late to 3 months late. And then I would say, hey, where's the deposit at? Go, yep, they're trying to figure out, man. He says he has this whatever investment coming, you're gonna get this huge lump sum of money. So then that's didn't come, then you're looking at, now you're looking at 4 months, like, where's the money? Then you're looking at 6 months, like, okay, man, where the hell is our money?
Yes, that's a huge problem. Of course, up till 2023, money had slowly started coming in, so people were letting it slide. But as these balances built up over time, eventually Brendan and Brian realized they were owed $400,000 on The Fighter and the Kid and upwards of $1.6 million across all their shows.
Now remember, Brian is just informed about Fighting the Kid. I have to manage Thick Boy, Golden Hour, the other shows that are owed money. So Brian's like, can you believe this? I'm like, yeah, that $400,000 is terrible. Try 1.6 mil, bro.
Right.
Wow, 1.6 million. What are we doing here? Now, I should be clear, Colin denies that there were these payment issues before 2022.
Your talent says they stopped getting paid as early as 2021 and they had issues and delays well before 2022.
No, I'm not aware of any difficulties before, the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023.
Then I talked to his business partner and everything changed. He told me accounting was always a nightmare.
My name is Dustin Canals. I was Colin's business partner, as you would introduce me, and VP of production and creative development with Gas Media.
One of the things Colin said is he was not aware of any accounting issues, early on. Is that true? Did you guys hear from talent about, because every talent I talked to said they were constantly complaining about accounting.
Yeah, I mean, everyone from the beginning had complained about how long it took to get paid. The managers would constantly step in. I think all of his accounting was done through Google Sheets, basically, and it was just him. But he would never let me see everything. He wouldn't actually let me see what was coming in and what was going out. And I was like, well, I kind of need to get a whole picture. And he just wouldn't share it.
Oh, that is a red flag. And it also lines up exactly with what I've
Redder
heard
than
from
my
a lot of the
fucking shirt,
creators.
bro.
The accounting was always weird. People had to chase
The shirt used to be a lot redder, I will say. It's been a bit washed out in the laundry.
it down, and the numbers were a little screwy. It led them to distrust what they were getting from Colin.
I can tell you, us personally, what we estimate we are owed is what they told us they owed us, plus whatever we think they still kept billing for after that date. Plus, we don't know truly what the accounting is because they stopped supplying accounting, and at one point earlier in the year, their accountant sent me 2 different sets of numbers of what money I was supposed to get. So I don't trust their accounting.
I can't emphasize enough. I heard this complaint over and over, not just from Brian Last. Everyone was worried about the accounting, but a lot of people who spoke up were just anonymous because they were afraid of Colin suing them, which isn't surprising because Colin warned Brian, who started
I will just say, I am not surprised that everyone else is afraid of lawsuits and fucking Brian Last and Jim Cornette are the ones who are like, no, fuck them. Fuck him. Do you know why I'm not surprised about that? Because I can find you many clips on the podcast of them literally saying that. I'm not afraid to be sued. Fuck him. Bring it. We will win. Like, they're talking about suing him because because of this shit, you know, like, they're not scared of him at all. And it's, whereas these, like, the bigger celebrities won't, whatever. Anyway, let's carry on.
Started talking, quote, the ensuing damages, if you were to cause this deal to unravel, are within the region of $10 million to $20 million. Consider this a serious caution. It would lead to decisive legal action. So basically, he was threatening people and people are scared. But I realized that these payment issues, accounting issues, they were all clues, sure, but not the whole story. To really understand how it could be that Cast fell apart, we need another piece of the puzzle, which is minimum guarantees. Remember, I told you earlier that I was simplifying podcast networks. So let's go into the deeper waters. The truth is, these deals vary wildly, and some of the bigger podcasters demand something called a minimum guarantee, where they aren't just paid a split of ads, they're paid a guaranteed minimum every month. And podcasters love this because it means they don't have to wait so long to get paid. According to Colin, though, this is how he fell behind.
We had months in there where our gross profit margins were, literally negative prior to any operating expenses, because the minimum guarantees that made economic sense when we made the deal were just completely underwater.
Basically, he overpaid. Cast made deals to bring people.
That sounds like his problem, though. Like, if you overpay, then surely it's up to you to then, reach out to the people that you're working with, like contracts. They have contracts and it's all legal above board shit. Like, so surely they have to, like, it's then up to you to reach out to people and try and work it out. Not just not pay them and then eventually pawn them off to some other network who's going to pay them a third of what they're worth. It's like,
people on in the first place, overpromised and then couldn't pay. Even Colin's former business partner agreed with this, although he thinks some of the money went to Colin personally as well.
We've got Colin's narrative as his business.
See, this is what I've been waiting for. Like, I've been wondering if this would come up. Like, fucking his business partners now reckoning that some of it went to him. I hope that there is proof of this, and just like, because, well, for obvious reasons. Like, the dude needs to be stopped, The dude needs to be stopped. All of these people that are podcasting under his banner need to get what they're owed. And, I know obviously it's more important to some than others, but still, like, it needs to be rectified.
Colin's former business partner agreed with this, although he thinks some of the money went to Colin personally as well.
We've got Colin's narrative as his business partner. You look at this situation, 4 million missing. The big question on everyone's mind, where did the money go?
Well, I think there's a couple places that the money has gone. One is he built a custom house. He was known for going on big, crazy vacations. He went to Hawaii multiple times in 2022 and was posting about it on his social media. There's not a question of was there money in that sense to be able to buy land where a lot of celebrities go to escape. But aside from that, the other thing that he has done is essentially make constant minimum guarantees to new talent to try to entice them to join Cast Media. So saying, I'll give you a 1-year guaranteed $250,000, $500,000, whatever his minimum guarantee is. Now, I've heard that even as soon as February of this year, he was offering multi-million-dollar minimum guarantees. So
At the same.
So he's overpaying people, spending all of the profit on houses and holidays, and then promising new people to come in loads of money in the hopes that these big names that he's bringing in will cover the lost revenue. it's a Ponzi scheme. It's like it's like the crypto scams that he covers. It's like the crypto scams that Coffee covers, where they're like, oh, yeah, that money's gone, so we started to have to take out of this pool and put into this pool because we fucked. It's just
Same time where he claims his revenues are way down, he's offering multi-million-dollar minimum guarantees for talent.
Yes, yeah. So, his priority is trying to keep the new talent happy for a while, with essentially his whole goal of selling cast to make big money in the end. But yeah, I would say that honestly, most of the money probably
it's like a
went
pump and
to
dump,
the minimum guarantees of other talent.
But with it's like a pump and dump scheme, but
that it was supposed to go to.
Wow. That might be the closest thing we have to a coherent answer on what happened to Cast Media. Although our story doesn't stop there, because obviously that's a pretty big accusation that some of the money may have gone to a house. So I decided to look into that and found that Colin Thompson indeed bought a $1.7 million house the same year as his financial troubles. And I also found out that right about the time he was talking about declaring bankruptcy, he moved that house into a trust where the trustee was a Wyoming LLC he set up, which from where I stood looked a lot like hiding assets from a bankruptcy right before a bankruptcy.
It's not looking good for you, Colin. Not looking good. Not looking very good for you. Got to be honest, mate. You're looking a bit fucked. Come on. Let's see how he answers this one.
But when I confronted Colin about this, he said I had things completely backwards. The truth is, he was hiding his property for a totally different reason, a very sympathetic reason.
We anonymized our address because we were getting threats in the last 30 days. There's been, there's been nothing untoward.
I think you can see though how other people might see it another way, where it looks like you're trying to shield it by hiding it from a personal name into a trust owned by an LLC. I mean, I'm in a very favorable state.
I assume you listen to the Jim Cornette episodes where they specify where I live, right? I assume you listen to the Jim Cornette episodes where they specifically call out where I live.
No,
really concerned.
They never specifically called out where he lived. They said the area. Like, I can't even remember the area off the top of my head, but like they said the area, but isn't like saying the area of America like saying a country anywhere else, because the areas are so fucking big. Although I wouldn't be surprised if fucking his fan base did manage to track him down though. To be fair, like oh man, there are some rabid corner like any fandom, right? Like absolutely any fandom, there are some absolutely rabid fans within that fandom, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them had actually managed to track Colin boy down. But yeah, they never said where he lived. They never called out his address, like nothing like that. That was that's bullshit. He's trying to play the sympathy card a bit here.
We were getting threats.
When I heard this, I was pretty alarmed, and I totally understood his fears. So I went to go ahead and look for the episode where Jim Cornette apparently specifically called out where he lived, but it wasn't there. Actually, Jim Cornette never mentions a specific address, but a general area. But way more damning for Colin's story is the fact that that episode came out in July, but Colin formed his LLC for moving the house in June. Before these threats ever happened, he's creating this shell company. So I found it very hard to believe. I pointed this out to Colin, and he said this, quote, "They revealed general details, and I anticipated the possibility of this happening. Brian threatened it very specifically in my original email exchange with him back in May. So I got a hold of those emails. There was no threat in them. Instead, Brian said things like, consider this a serious caution. We're going to make sure to endlessly let all listeners know with great detail that Colin Thompson of Podcast One stole our money because
And Brian showed this on their podcast. Like, that's what I mean. Like, they've been covering this in detail. Like, if you're interested in this story and want to know more and hear some rabid people about it, right? Jim Cornette, like, they've done like 10 parts on this between like half an hour to an hour long each over the period of time that this has been going on, covering it. And Brian said this. He's literally read this email out on their podcast.
because he doesn't know with great detail that Colin Thompson of Podcast One stole our money because he doesn't know how to run a business, which is sort of true. This guy doesn't know how to run a business. So I became increasingly convinced maybe, just maybe, Colin might be lying to me about why he hid his house in a trust with a Wyoming LLC trustee. Okay, I know this is a bit inside baseball right now, but it's important because I think it reveals intentions. Because I then looked up the website he used to create the LLC. And the website tagline for Colin's LLC is, quote, "Asset protection is our only focus." So, want to hide your house? Wrong company, not their focus. Asset protection? That's your guy. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised that he tried to say this wasn't the case. So I sent a screenshot of that to Colin saying, hey, you're obviously hiding assets in this company that specializes in asset protection planning, where the other tagline, by the way, is creditors will be forced into a better settlement or to dismiss the case altogether. And when I sent that to Colin, he responded, quote, "I can't speak to what's written as marketing material on a website. I didn't write it."
You didn't write it, but you fucking read it when you were researching the company. Oh, it just so happened that I went with this one. Oh, what a coincidence. Is one of those fucking things like that many coincidences aren't a coincidence. Fuck.
Come on, bro. We got you, okay? I can't go show up at an asset protection only store and say, hey, I was just looking for a little anonymity. That's not being honest. And look, I don't know how dumb this guy thinks we are, but in my opinion, what happened is pretty simple. I think Colin bought a $1.7 million house the same year as he had trouble paying people. I think his accounting was always sketchy. I think he overpromised people money to attract new talent. And I think in the end, he tried to sell it all to a bigger company and force these podcasters into raw deals. And worst of all, this is not a new story. Colin is not unique. Actually, the main reason I took this case is because we've all seen this story play out before. Sleazy business guy screws over artist or musician or podcaster. Look, to be honest, I wanted to find out how it happened, but I also wanted to find out how we can learn to prevent it in the future. Because, to be honest, I'm as much in this media landscape as these guys. And I think the answer starts with how you get involved. How did Colin find and sign all these celebs? Well, the truth is, some people were introduced. Theo Von was introduced by Brendan Schaub. But I asked Brian and Brendan how they got involved. And their answer struck me as part of the problem. Was he just offering better deals than everyone else?
No. It's word of mouth. It's because what happens is they go, who is your agency? We don't know nobody, like, we're not interacting with these people all the time. What happens is it's like, if there's an agency that this person is with and this person is with, we go, do you make money? Yeah. All right. Can you hook me up? And then,
especially when comics are talking like, man, this guy's killing it for us, man.
Yeah.
I made 1.6 million this year. And like, damn, that's more than I made. Who you think you would take me on? Then it becomes this like snowball effect, and and then everybody's there.
Yeah.
Isn't it like funny how even when he's the victim of a scam, he is like Brendan Schaub is not sympathetic at all. Like just listening to the man talk, and I don't know who the fuck this is. Like Brian, I think they said his name is, but he seemed like they have very similar temperaments, and it's just like the way they put themselves across. It's very hard to feel sympathy for you. Like I do. Like that's like everyone. Like, don't get me wrong. Everyone that's a part of this, yeah, don't get it twisted. Everyone that is a part of this that has been ripped off, I do feel some sympathy for you. Like it's bullshit. Like it's the artist getting ripped off by their agent shit. But taking all this aside, maybe it's not the most likable figures.
This is the issue. And look, it's not to absolve Colin. It's not to put any blame on anyone who got screwed over here. But the truth is, people are always led around with these dollar amounts. Oh, you made this much. You know, that's how they get you in these bad contracts. And then they don't pay you and you're left chasing a Wyoming LLC to nowhere. So this isn't just about these podcasters. It's everywhere. It's about 360 deals in music, MCNs with YouTubers, and just honestly business people begging you to let them control your money and then you getting scraps. It's as disgusting as it is common, and I really hope that any aspiring people in media learn from these mistakes and scams and realize you don't need these middleman people most of the time. But more than that, do not trust people with your business who promise you the world. In fact, usually that's the worst red flag. Oh, you're going to make all the money. Just sign here. It's a trap. And you never know what's in the fine print until you read it. Just ask Dylan Dennis.
Oh, oh, that's an ending right there. Well, as usual, let's have a look. It is just the Patreon. There we go. If you want to look at his Patreon viewers, pause it now. Oh, right. So the latest Coffeezilla video, that was a banger, man. I love Coffeezilla's stuff. Like Coffeezilla's videos, like his exposés and all that, are so well put together, and he does so much work to get all the information. They're always highly entertaining, and this one was a bit of a wish fulfillment for me, because like I say, ever since the Jim Cornette stuff has been going on, and they've mentioned on there that it's involved bigger real stars, I've been thinking like, oh, this could be a coffee video, and here we are, it's a coffee video. And yeah, fuck Colin Thompson, praise Coffeezilla, like, subscribe. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now. Like the video, need to give it unless I show me doing it, I need to give the video a like. There we go, give the video a like. You know you want to do it to me. Yeah, thanks for coming out. Fuck Colin Thompson. Praise Coffeezilla. I've been brain dead, as always. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.